Good afternoon and welcome to another WFL breakdown. I am one of the commissioners of the WFL, Coach Winuvas of the New Orleans Saints. And today I'm coming to you with a little bit of one I wanted to do for a while. Didn't know if I really wanted to or needed to do one on this particular topic, but I want to go ahead and do it because we do have a lot of newcomers, at least at this time this video is being recorded, that are coming from a strict no-switch league. And I want to go over the WFL's position on no switch as far as we view it. So this is going to be a little bit of a free-flowing exercise. The first thing I want to state is that the WFL is a no switch league. So that's what this video is going to be about. Is basically when you can and when you cannot switch is basically what we're going to be going over today. On offense, it'll be a little tougher to detect, but I'll show you what we mean by certain concepts in the rule book. And on defense, it's one of those things that it's pretty clear cut if you've swapped or not. So I will show that as well. I'm going to bring up my window capture. You should now be seeing my wonderful little video. I'm going to be calling just a base defense. I'll just call cover 3 sky, and I'm going to make sure that the offense runs a pass play, so that way we can see what's going on. Let me run something that's got a little bit of longer tone to it. Maybe my guys will get it done. This is not a good one. Let's see. Mesh. I did not prepare this in advance in case you couldn't tell. So let's just do play action Y seam. That'll be a good one. Now I'm going to swap to a usable. And I'm going to try and make sure I do the switch that I want to do. Oh, of course you dump it underneath, you goober. I'm trying to show you an actual play where he throws it deep. That's going to be a pain in the butt with a computer. Oh, come on. Seriously? The CPU is being dumb. All right, let me call a timeout. Let me just go man coverage. Maybe that'll help open up the space a little bit. All right, let's do cover 1 hole. And let's just run gun. Let's get some openings here. Let's do X dig. Come on, Jameis. Throw the ball down the field so I can show off what I want to do. Okay, so there we go. It's gonna be some clipping, unfortunately. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna look at instant replay on it. So pause, instant replay. So on this play, I am currently using. Let me see if I can get it centered in. I am on the computer, so it's a little tougher to see what I'm doing. But I am currently on Demario Davis, and that is perfectly fine and perfectly acceptable in our league. That is fine. Now, I'm going to let the play out. Now, I'm playing poorly out of position for a reason, just to kind of show off. Oh, geez, that's a terrible camera angle. Let me go to the play art here. So, basically, I'm going to kind of go slow. And right here, okay, at this point, the ball is not quite in the air, but it is close enough now to where, under WFL rules, we cannot switch on defense. I cannot switch. I don't know currently where the target is. I will know here in a fraction of a second, obviously. I know it's going to Michael Thomas from the previous play. But at this point and juncture, I am pretty much locked onto Demario Davis on defense. I cannot switch to any other player but Demario Davis. I have to stay on him. So if that ball is not going to Alvin Kamara here, I believe that's who that is, 41 running the play. No, that's Deontay Harris running a cross route. Okay. So, basically, if that ball's not going to Deontay Harris, number 11, I am pretty much forced to watch the interaction between the cornerback and maybe the safety, depending on how the coverage is, and the wide receiver. Now, this is an example of what not to do. Okay, that's what I want to do first. Is basically, you can see I'm still on the linebacker, Demario Davis, and then suddenly... Oh, it didn't switch. Well, dad burned it. I guess I lagged out. That's an example of a good play then. We'll just use this as an example of a good play. I thought I had switched beforehand. This is okay because essentially at the point he catches the ball, I instantly switch off of Davis to the defender catching the ball because I have intercepted it. And at that point, the play has completed as assigned, so I have swapped. So this is a legit play. I honestly thought I had switched beforehand, but I guess the lag got me. Let me see if I can get one that does let me switch and see if I can do a what not to do. Come on. There we go. There it is. Okay. So, now I finally got one. All right, pause. Instant replay. Okay, so in this play, I did switch a little early, so I'm going to show you. Okay, so right here, okay, at the time I switch, unless I switch to, okay, so right here, I switched a little early. I shouldn't have. I was trying to show you guys. I thought he had thrown the ball when I hit the button. That's also illegal because that's a defensive tackle, so that counts as defensive tackle using. So I can hit two birds with one stone. But the main one I want to go to is this. I was Demario Davis. So for the purposes of the example, let's say I'm still Demario Davis. I can chase Deontay Harris. I can also sit in my soft zone because this is cover one. I'm responsible for the middle of the field. I can also sit and maybe see if I can get underneath Michael Thomas, who's coming across on this side here. That's Michael Thomas. Ooh, if I can get him. There we go. It's a little laggy on my side, sorry. But at the point that Jameis throws the football, let's see if I can get a little bit. Right there. Okay, ooh, a little bit far. At that point, the ball is out of his hands. Whatever player I am currently using, at this point I know I'm illegal, but I was using Demario Davis. At this point, whatever player I was using, I have to stay on until the end of the play. This is an example of what not to do. You can see, okay, whoop, there we go. The ball is still in the air, and I've swapped off the defensive tackle that I was illegally using, but say I was Demario Davis, and I've switched to the on-ball defender that is part of the pass play. That, you can see, basically you see no halo, and then you see halo. Boom. So at that point, that is a violation of our no-switch rules. By our rules, you cannot do that. Any interaction at that point has to be between the CPU defender and the CPU receiver. And this is where it's going to get a little tougher to manage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to back out. I'm going to go practice type, and I'm going to go, can I go normal? Or is that, okay, that's basically what I got. I got to flip sides. So I'm going to flip sides. Boop. Okay. And I got to call one play just to get it done, so that way I can get the switch over. Come on. Come on. Can I? Okay, why am I not? Resume. Come on. Where's my timeout here? Okay. Now I'm confuzzled. I guess maybe the game is confuzzled. I'll just quit out. We'll just do it simple. I thought I was going to try and do it all in one spot, but I guess Madden just doesn't like me right now. All right, so normal, so that way I will be on offense. I'm going to put my Saints out on defense as well. No, Saints, not Seahawks. All right, excuse me. Ready, and now I'm going to call a pass play. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, I'm on offense now. I'm going to call just a gun pass play. And I'm going to call... I'll call X-Dig. That's what I called in the... So I'm going to go nickel. Let's do Tampa 2. Let's see if I can get a Tampa 2 going against this. Okay, I'm going to back out a little bit. And I'm going to try and exhibit what we talk about when we say receivers can't use catch buttons. And this one's a harder one to manage because we have to watch the video. But essentially, I'm going to try and mimic it here. Give me just a second. Of course, there's no catch button that showed up for that. All right, let me try that again. May not. Well, no, it can show up on deep passes. I've done it in practice mode before, so. All right. Oh, come on. Seriously? Offensive line. Give me some protection here. Come on. Unfortunately, I can't do it two-player because I'm on remote play, so I can't do any of the stuff I normally would do. Jesus. Hi, guys. Come on, get open. All right, let me just call a go route for Thomas. I'm just going to chunk it up to him. Oh, dang it, I forgot. He's got wide receiver apprentice there. Can you do that? Thank you. Okay, let's go here. Okay, he had secure catch up. That's not what I wanted. All right, let's do it again. Let's try and get it again. Now, essentially, to try and kind of, it's going to be harder to show because obviously this is one where I can't just pause the live video feed and show it to you. But whenever the default catch ratio that shows up above Michael Thomas's head, has to remain that way for the entirety of the play. So in other words, as soon as I let go of the ball, which I'm just going to throw one up, okay, I actually hit the aggressive catch animation, triangle. So basically what I want to try and show is this, for offensive speaking. And again, this one is harder to monitor because there are coaching adjustments that you can make to basically set your default settings as far as what you do for short passes, what you do for deep passes. You know, if you go aggressive on deep passes, they will try an aggressive catch before anything else. If you try an aggressive short, they'll try aggressive short catches. If you do the conservative side, they will do basically a secure catch animation, both long and short. And if you leave it as default, it's whatever the player can do. In WFL, what we intend is essentially for you on offense, once you have made the decision to throw the football, at that point, you are not allowed by rule to use the catch buttons to influence what catch animation will trigger for your wide receiver. That is the equivalent of switching. Usually when you hit that button, excuse me, you will then swap over to the wide receiver. Okay, this one is harder to monitor, but it can be monitored by checking, basically watching the tape and essentially seeing the animation, the type of catch animation that the receiver is trying to do. It will change, and as soon as it changes, the cursor will pop in below the receiver, and that lets you know that a user catch animation was basically forced. Okay, in the WFL on offense, we do not allow that. Basically, once that ball is in the air, it is up to the wide receiver's AI to decide A, what the best catch is, and B, to execute that particular catch style. Now, obviously, coaching adjustments can change that, but the default catch animation that pops up above the receiver's head is what we typically look at. At least that's what I look at when I look for user catch issues. Okay, so if I see, like, obviously this is in instant replay, we're not going to see any of that stuff. We'd have to see it on a live stream. But in this case, if I were to see from aggressive to, say, secure catch animation, that would mean that potentially one of two things happened. Either A, conservative play catching was on as a coaching adjustment, or B, a user catch was initiated. And the way you can tell the difference between the two is by looking at the circle that pops in below the receiver. Actually, there you go. That's actually perfect, because I did hit a button for the aggressive catch animation. You obviously can't see it in this replay because it doesn't show in replays. It only shows in live stream. But I did hit the aggressive catch button, and you can tell I did because of that. The animation triggers just before the ball makes contact, and at that point, I am technically in control of the wide receiver. I have switched to the wide receiver. This is an illegal play. Okay, this is not something that is legal in WFL on the offensive side. Okay. On run plays, though, which I'm going to show one of those off real quick on defense. So I'm going to actually quit out, go back on defense. And this may rankle a couple of feathers, especially folks that are like, you know, that may think it creates an unfair advantage. But with pursuit angles the way they are in Madden, and they have been for eons, switching on offense in the run game is almost a necessary evil. But I'm going to go ahead and call a run defense real quick. Let's just call cover one hole. And let's call I formation inside zone. Okay. Once you realize that the play is a run, you can switch to your heart's content. I think I switched off of Davis in that play. I think I did. I'll do one more just to make sure. I'm going to play as Alexander. And then once I realize the run play is on, I'm going to switch, try and get to Davis, and there we go. Okay, so I'm going to do a pause and just show that particular setup because, again, I'm kind of laggy. So I apologize for if you see, like, breaks in the quality of video. But, okay. So on this play, I know it's a run. You can see I'm currently using, I think that's Quan Alexander. Duh, I said it in the video. I said it just beforehand. So I see it's a run. I'm on Quan. It looks like it's not coming my side. I could hold this area, and I could stay there, and that would be perfectly acceptable if that's what you want to do as Quan, or as your linebacker in this case. If you want to stay and hold that gap in case of a cutback, that is perfectly acceptable. It kind of veers outside into our running with integrity guidelines, because this play arts looks like it's going right side. So you may, if you see a cutback that severe without some sort of special move, that may be something to report for running with integrity issues. But if you want to hold that hole and make sure there's no cutback lane, I completely understand that if you want to stay as, in this case, Quan Alexander, but whoever your outside linebacker is, because that would be a legitimate worry in the NFL as far as a cutback, okay? But I decide not to. So I switch as soon as I see it. As soon as a run play. And in this case, you note, I end up switching to a defensive lineman, a defensive tackle. On a run play, swapping like that, generally we don't want you to swap to a DT to user the DT. But note, I swap back out to Demario Davis. I'm basically trying to get to the closest player. And at that point, I'm Demario Davis. I was Quan to start the play. I shed a block, and I make a tackle. Well, the animation makes a tackle. It's probably more Demario Davis's attributes than it is me making the play. But I wanted to show that all of this, as long as, okay, at this point, I want to zoom in just to kind of show this off. At this point, if I were to user David Onyemata to tackle Alvin Kamara, that would be illegal. He is a defensive tackle, and defensive tackle usering is banned. So if I were to do any sort of movement here to help me get Alvin Kamara down as David Onyemata, that would be a violation. However, as soon as I swap to Demario Davis, that is legal. This is a run play, so switching is allowed, and I can come up and make the play with Demario Davis. Now, typically you don't see this much swapping on an interior run play. I realize that. But the same holds true for outside runs. If you need to grab somebody that has a better angle or has a potential to hit a cutback lane, maybe I can try and show that off on a stretch play. Let me see if I can find me a stretch play in this playbook. Should be able to. I use it all the time. Let's use Tampa 2. And let's go, yeah, there we go. Perfect. Halfback stretch. We'll go left side. Okay, if I see, let's say I'm on this side, and I see the play going that way, I can then swap and try and make a play. I did swap to Quan very, very briefly before the tackle was made by Davenport. I'll do it again, and I'll try and do, okay, so let's do I swapped to defensive lineman because he was closer. Let me try and see if maybe I can do a little bit quicker because I'm slow on the dot. There we go. No, that's a defensive lineman. Don't do that. Trying to show good habits and not bad habits, but it's going to take me a couple plays to get the action I want. Okay, nope, that wasn't it either. I got a defensive I got outside. I got Davenport on that one. Okay, there's Quan. I swapped to Quan. That'll work. Now, obviously, most good users... pause. Most good users won't need to do that much swapping, but I want to show that it is allowed in WFL as long as you don't user a DT in this. So currently I'm on Pete Werner. I immediately swap, and you see now I'm on a defensive tackle. I know that's illegal, so I basically try and hammer A as quickly as possible. I get to a defensive end because that's Marcus Davenport, I do believe. It is. 92 is Davenport. And then I'm trying to basically switch to another linebacker. I thought I'd switch to Quan Alexander. I switched to Marcus Davenport. Defensive end usage is legal, but defensive tackle is not. So basically this play would be legal by switching standards unless I tried to make a play with the DT while I had him. I did not. I was simply trying to switch to another closer player, and I switched to Davenport and ended up not doing anything because I'm blocked. But you can switch on run plays. That's the main thing, the crux of what I want to get across in this video is that switching on run plays is legal. Switching on play action is legal as long as you do not switch once the ball is thrown. That is the caveat you must follow. If the ball is in the air, you do not switch at all under any circumstances, and that goes for offense as well. Okay, that goes for offense definitely as well, because just like the defense, the offense is locked into that same thing. And as I bring it on back to the video so we can wrap this video up, it's gone a little longer than I anticipated. As I get back in, there we go, get some light back in here. I wanted to do this video. It is a tougher video to do because of the fact that it's hard to recreate that in practice mode, especially with my user skills, which are lacking severely, as you can clearly see by all the video I had to do. But I wanted to show why what the WFL's position is as far as no switch. Essentially, it's a limited no switch. I know there are some leagues that do hardcore no switch, and that's fine and dandy. That's not what we do, however. The only hardcore no switch we have is once the ball is in the air on a pass play. Once the ball is in the air on a pass play, there is no switching to be allowed, no user catching to be used by the offense. Essentially, it's to recreate that interaction between a wide receiver and a defensive back to make it as legitimate as possible. Because in this game, you can have 70 overall wide receivers, best 90, 95 overall cornerbacks with proper using. Now, obviously, it would take a little bit of talent on the sticks, and I understand that stick skills do need to come into it. But at the same time, those interactions have to be honored as far as that skill of a D-back, defensive back, whether it's a corner or safety, should be honored because they're rated that highly for a reason. And so to honor that number, we basically make sure that in passing plays, once the ball is in the air until something happens, whether it's an interception like I showed at the beginning with Marcus Lattimore, whether it's an incomplete pass, or whether it's a catch by the receiver. Once the catch by the receiver happens, it becomes a run play. So essentially all switching that you can do is now on. You can switch to that cornerback or safety that was beat back there and try to make a tackle at that point. You can switch to a chasing defender and try and catch up if you're playing catch up. Whatever you need to do once the process of the pass is completed, whether it's an incomplete pass, complete pass, or an interception, at that point switching goes. You can switch to any defender you need to. And on run plays, you can switch to your heart's content as long as you don't user the defensive tackle, because that is a banned thing. You can switch to it, just make sure you switch right back off again. Don't try to make any plays with a defensive tackle, otherwise that will be up for potential punishment by our Players Association. I hope that clears up our way of no switch. I know it's pretty clear cut in the rule book, but I still wanted to show some things in Madden, hopefully that help alleviate or illustrate the concept. I did a poor job probably because I'm a terrible user, but hey, I tried. So but hopefully this helps you out a little bit. Maybe we'll get something through on that as far as the no switch, and hopefully you understand going forward. Then hopefully this is a video you can kind of look at to kind of refresh yourself on what no switch is if you kind of doze off for a little while and forget what it is. But until the next video comes out, whether it's a breakdown, a podcast, or whatever, I'm Coach Winuvas of the New Orleans Saints, one of the commissioners of the WFL, and I will catch you later, guys.